Another edition of Just Another Year Chicago. My name is Tony Sapita, and I am joined by a very special guest today, college basketball and gambling expert, Austin. How you doing today, Austin?
I'm doing good. I appreciate you calling me a gambling expert. My bank account doesn't feel that way this week, but great to be here. I appreciate you having me. I love tuning in every week, hearing your guys' takes, listening to you guys, even for as terrible as your takes are sometimes, Tony, but it's all good.
See, you mentioned that, but we're going to get into it here. We wrote this script actually on Friday, kind of, put a little outline together. And when I say everything changed, we just went through it right now. I think all of our takes were wrong. Actually, I have one super correct take that I cannot wait to go over. So today, March Madness, obviously the tournament is considered March Madness. I like to consider the conference tournaments included in that in those last couple of games, because like we said, everything could change. It's February and it's already madness. So March Madness is the most magical time of the year. It's nearly upon us. We are officially 13 days away, just less than a fortnight from Selection Sunday. Conference tournaments start this week, with the Northeast Conference tournament actually starting today on Monday when you're seeing it. We're recording this Sunday night, actually before the rankings come out. So don't give us too much flack if we're a little off on some stuff. Stay tuned for my actual awesome official pick for that conference. And today we're going to be kind of discussing our number one seeds, a team that will be snubbed. We guarantee it. We both guaranteed they're going to be snubbed from the number one seed. We're going to predict some of the auto bids, those auto qualifiers from the smaller conferences. Our last four in, first four out. And finally, we're going to give you some winners for the people. But first, Austin, what is your biggest takeaway from the college basketball season to date?
This season, comparing it to last year you had two runaway teams that were clearly far better than everybody else in college basketball, with Baylor and Gonzaga. Baylor clearly being able to run their way through the tournament last year and just destroy in the national championship game. But this year, I don't know what it is, but I just feel like it's a level playing field for everybody. You saw 7 top 10 teams all getting beat on Saturday. So, I mean, you love to see it. Anybody can get beat on any given night, and that's what makes it really exciting going into the tournament. My last thing is that the Big Ten, I'm tired of seeing them being slept on. The committee, it's BS. They deserve it. They deserve a number one seed out of one team, and there's some teams in there that have records that reflect getting beat up in conference, but I think that they're far better than any other conference in college basketball. So
yeah, I completely agree with you. And again, we wrote this on Friday, so we're gonna kind of get into our number one seeds here and some snubs. But so what's very interesting about the Big Ten, and then we'll go right into our first topic, is they might have like 9 teams. Maybe it's gonna be more now. I actually didn't redo the math like I meant to. They might have at least 9 teams in the tournament. They might have 0 number one seeds, which is crazy. So potentially only 1 top 3 seed in Purdue. And nothing against Purdue. Wisconsin actually might change that. But I was kind of going through it, and I don't know if the committee's going to give them what will that be 4, 8, 12, a top 12 team, or they'll have the one. It'll be Purdue. So I'm excited for that. My official overall take is that I'm so excited to take Texas Tech, put them in my Final Four, maybe have them win a couple brackets, get crazy, and then just lose right in the first round, which I, again, wrote that before this weekend as well, and we saw what happened against it. Not a good TCU team, in my opinion.
There's always got to be one of those every year that, you're way too sold on, and then they let you down. It's kind of like Ohio State against Oral Roberts last year.
Yeah,
Iowa broke everybody's heart.
Yeah, Iowa State was always the king of it. So speaking of I don't know, we'll just go right into our first topic. So basically, we're going to name our number 4 seed, or our 4 number one seeds, and then we're going to say who we think people are going to kind of be like, oh, how are they not a number one seed? How are they not a number one seed? Basically, our snub. So my top 4 are, I still think Gonzaga is going to be number 1. Enough teams, I think, and I think you agree with this, Austin, enough teams lost right at the top where they're not going to just take a section of like the 1 through 6 and just put them below Duke or anything.
It was the top 6 teams all lost on Saturday. Yeah. So you're right.
Yeah. So it's going to be, I think Gonzaga is the number 1 overall. I still think Auburn is going to find their way back into that, because I think they'll beat Kentucky in their conference tournament. I think they'll find a way up there. Arizona, I think finds their way up to the top still. And I think Kansas, although again, I'm a little shakier on it, but I really think that it was a weird enough weekend where they're going to kind of forgive some of these teams. Austin, what is your top four?
My top four, I'm agreeing with you. I think you got to have Gonzaga, no matter what. I don't know that they're the number one overall one seed, but they will definitely be given a one seed. Auburn for sure. They play a really hard conference. They lost to number 17 Tennessee, so I think it's a tough game. They were on the road. They deserve to have a number one seed. I'll take Arizona, although losing to Colorado is a big hit. That could drop them, but I still think that they deserve a number one seed. And I'm still taking Purdue to be my last number one seed. Kansas lost too. They don't deserve to drop. They lost to a Michigan State team that, although may not be ranked right now, they're still a great basketball team. I can't believe that you would just spit in my face after agreeing with my take on the Big Ten, and you're still not going to respect them and give them that well-earned one seed, because they are a number one seed.
Yeah, so I teased this a little bit at the beginning when I said I had the most correct take in the world. Again, written on Friday, I wrote Purdue is my snub. I think they will lose. I said in the Big Ten tournament, I didn't think they were going to lose this soon. Although I did give out Michigan State as my winner in one of my picks yesterday, so hopefully you tailed that. But it's not because I think Purdue is bad. I really just think the Big Ten, like we both said, is just so strong. It is crazy. We saw what was that? Like Nebraska, who has one win in conference, just crushed Penn State, who isn't that good of a team this year. Maryland beat Ohio State today. It's just anything could happen in the Big Ten, and that's what I like. And I think they'll definitely get a 2 seed. They'll probably be like the 5th overall in the tournament, just because I think they'll be given kind of that little badge of honor of playing in a tough conference. And that's actually why I think Arizona and also, who did I say? Kansas, or no, my apologies. Arizona and Auburn will stay in that top 1 seed, because I think it'll be like, yes, you did lose this game right at the end of the season, but you won enough games. And Duke's dropped a couple. Alabama's in the top 25 with 10 losses, which is crazy. I think they'll kind of overlook it a little. So who is your snub? You said I don't know if you already said it out, but
no, I haven't. I agree with Purdue being your snub for the conference tournament, just because of how, like you said, how good the Big Ten is. I could see a Wisconsin or a Illinois, or even for that matter, a Michigan State being able to put something together, make a run. Rutgers would be a scary one. I don't know that they can win it, but I definitely think that they could knock off a good team. My snub for the conference, just to spite you, I got to say Kansas. I think that the Big 12 is a really tough conference for basketball, with Texas Tech, Kansas. Who else am I missing? There's another.
Iowa State is
Baylor.
Always there.
Iowa State.
Baylor. Yeah, good one.
I could see a Texas Tech, a Baylor winning the Big 12. Texas is going to let any of their fans down and lose. I could see that happening. But yeah, I agree with your take on Purdue not winning the conference tournament. And I really don't think Kansas will win theirs either. So
all right. Well, so we got some takes already. So now let's get into some more guarantees here. So this is arguably, in my opinion, I think I tweeted this out the other day, the most important and the most fun, like, auto qualification in all of sports. It's the automatic bids from winning your conference tournaments. Like, obviously in the NFL, you see you win your division, you're in. It's cool. It's just the regular season. NCAA football, they don't do a conference tournament. They obviously, you play all the teams, but that's the regular season. I think this is the most fun. I love tournaments. It's basketball. That's what you do in basketball. So Austin and I are each going to give you our 2 favorite non-Power 5 auto bids, and then our favorite Power 5 conference tournament dark horse. There's a lot of words there. You'll catch on. Austin, would you like to start us off?
Yeah, I think that there's a clear favorite in the Ohio Valley Conference this year with Murray State. I don't know what it is in that program, but we keep seeing them be in the tournament, and I think deservingly so. They're undefeated in conference right now. They have a really special player with KJ Williams. He's an NBA talent, averaging 18.2 points a game, 8.5 rebounds, and 54% from the field. It's a pretty weak conference, other than a Belmont team who, could be a little sneaky in there, but I think that they're just going to dominate it. get their automatic bid to the tournament, and be fine. And then my other one, I'll give credit to South Dakota State in the Summit League. They're the second highest scoring team in college basketball, only behind Gonzaga, and they have the second highest field goal percentage, only behind Gonzaga in all of college basketball. They're a really high-power team. They're going to get out and go and try and score a lot of points. I think they're averaging close to over 80 a game. And sort of writing history at the moment. They're, for the first time ever, South Dakota State's the first team in conference history to finish the season undefeated in the regular season. So I think that they could be one of those teams that they may have to have a play-in game just because they're from the Summit League. Nobody's going to give them respect. But they could be the kind of team that, wins a first round or two and shakes up a bracket.
They'll be the team that beats the team you're about to talk about right here, as well as your dark horse.
that is the truth. My dark horse is got to be Texas Tech. They have held, I think I saw something about 20 teams to less than their average points in the paint, and 14 of those were their lowest on the entire year. They play great defense. They've competed against really good basketball teams. I believe it. The Big 12 is sort of going to be a funny conference, and I think that you'll see Texas Tech on top beating Kansas in the championship.
Wow. I love that. I love Texas Tech. I love rooting for them. I love it when they're playing in Lubbock too. Big game in Lubbock is always electric. I feel it. Like I said, the Iowa States, the Ohio States in the past, just those teams, like they're not, the cream of the crop. They're not a Kansas. They're not those normal teams.
They're going to be riding the high way too early. They're going to win their conference. Mm-hmm. They're going to go into the tournament and get their butt kicked.
I know. I'm worried about it. Oh, well, still put them in my Final Four at the very least. So here are my first auto bid. And this is this team I love. Also a little personal connection as well. So the University of Vermont, they're in the American East Conference. They are going to win their conference. I'm going to bet on it if I can find odds here. I don't know when the odds come out or if they do, but Ryan Davis is going to be the conference player of the year again. He is 6'8", 250, went to James B. Conant High School, baby. Rep that high school. That's where I went. He also played with my brother. They played in some feeder league in 5th grade. He was already 6'5", absolutely insane. He is. And the craziest part too is, so he's a weapon in the post, but he can shoot threes he's Kristaps Porzingis in his prime. 17.5 points a game on 58.5% shooting. And it's not all just little dunks, little putbacks. He has a good mid-range game. And what is he? 41.7% from three. Pretty good. Shoots a lot of threes too. I should have had the amount in there. But yeah, I think 5.6 rebounds, almost a block a game. So it's a good player. It's just better than what they have in that conference. I think Hartford's in that conference. Just not very good teams. No offense to those teams, but
I did see a stat where Vermont and South Dakota State are 2 out of the 3 teams in college basketball to lead their conference in offensive points and defensive scoring. So wow. They're leading in both categories in their conference. So Vermont and South Dakota State, sneaky teams.
There we go. We got stats backing us up everywhere. So my other team that is going to definitely win their conference, guaranteed, is Bryant University. If you watch me give out any of my picks on Saturday, I gave out Bryant. I will repeat the reasoning real quick. So Wagner had a chance. They had a chance to lock up the regular season title, but they lost to a then 3-20 Fairleigh Dickinson team who actually plays today on Monday against Central Connecticut. They're going to lose, so bet on Central Connecticut. But similar to a prize fight, both these teams are even. Both these guys are even. They're throwing punches, and there's that one in the middle, the 6th round, they'll land a stunner, and it's where you stand up and you see he's in trouble. He's gonna get him. He's got him against the ropes. Bryant knows they've landed that stunner. They ended up beating Wagner yesterday because they controlled their own destiny all the way through. They beat them at Bryant, which probably helped a little bit. Which I called again. There was another winner. So they're going to get the number 1 seed in their tournament. And I really think Wagner is just kicking themselves because all they had to do was beat a 3-20 3-20 terrible team, and they didn't do it. So Bryant is definitely going to win that conference. I think they play Tuesday. They have like a weird small conference, like that's like the quarterfinals already. So bet on them all the way through. That'd be my recommendation. My dark horse is the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. And hear me out. I was gonna actually have them as my 8th pick yesterday. I only gave out 7. They ended up beating Georgia Tech by 45. So the ACC is having a really weird year. I was actually just looking at the rankings. I didn't realize Duke is the only ranked team in the ACC. Unreal. I thought they had at least one more. I didn't realize Notre Dame was second in the conference. I did not realize they had snuck up there because they kind of got their butts kicked when they played Duke the last time they played. And they just they've had some weird games. But again, the ACC is down. They just got to get to that ACC championship game. And I know it's Duke. And I know Duke is a very good team. And again, they've got their number. But any given Sunday, it's probably going to be on Sunday at the ACC. That might be Saturday. Any given Saturday. So that's my dark horse. So we'll finish up here with.
I think I got to say, Tony, I think you're crazy to say Notre Dame is going to beat Duke. Duke is riding a high knowing this is Coach K's last year. And if you think that they're going to allow him to lose his last possible conference championship game, you're out of your mind. I don't know what you've been doing lately, but I don't like it. You've changed.
Hear me out on this. Is it a little like, when like the Chiefs or whatever, they're 13-0, and they kind of drop a weird game to like the Jaguars or whatever in late December, and that kind of just reinvigorates them. And then they go up, they kind of need that little gut check just to bring them back down to earth. They're still going to make the tournament. They're not going to not make the tournament if they lose in their conference championship.
Tony, this means everything for Coach K. It's his last year. Come on.
The number 2
he
team.
Ain't losing.
The number 2
Duke
team
is
in the
not
conference
losing.
is plus 10,000
right now.
Plus 10,000. It actually might be plus 1,000. It's definitely not plus 10,000. So our last 4 in, first 4 out. We'll go through this kind of quick. My last 4 in: Oregon, Loyola, Chicago. That's a little hometown call on my part there. San Francisco and Memphis. My reasoning real quick: Oregon, they really bolstered their resume this past week. They beat UCLA, took USC down to I think they ended up losing by 1. USC is a huge game coming up as well against. I think it's against Arizona. I think Austin and I were talking about it before. And if USC can win that looks better for Oregon. I think they just sneak in there with a little run in the Pac-12 championship or Pac-12 tournament. Loyola, I think they're going to win their tournament, and I love them. I think they'll get in. San Francisco, I think they're not going to win their conference tournament. Austin reminded me of the fact that they played with Gonzaga and St. Mary's in that same conference. So, but they need a nice little run, finish with a couple good wins, maybe keep it close against whoever they end up playing, whether it's Gonzaga or St. Mary's, and then they'll hopefully get in that large bid because I like San Francisco as well. And then Memphis, they just have more AP top 25 wins than SMU. That's really my reasoning. It's nothing against SMU. I like SMU, the Mustangs. They have great colors, red, white, and blue. But yeah. So what? Who are your last 4 in, Austin?
I think we both agree with Loyola, Chicago, San Francisco, and Memphis, and you hit all those points home well. My last one is Indiana. They should have a pretty automatic win against Nebraska, but nothing is automatic in the Big Ten. I would assume they get that game, but you never know. And then they're going to have to end the season really well with a very hard game at Purdue. And Purdue's coming off of a loss to them in Indiana, and in which they lost by Purdue, I think lost by 3. Indiana was riding a high. They're a very good team. I think that there's a chance. You never know what could happen. Clearly, we saw Purdue get knocked off, and you think that they're just so terrible that I guess this should be an easy game for Indiana.
I've seen Purdue play basketball, but they never do it. It's every year. It's Purdue's here. It's Purdue's here. They just don't do it. I don't know. Maybe it's just the Purdue in them, Purdue, Irish. I don't know.
I'm an Illinois fan, so I don't even know why I'm fighting this
biased.
battle.
I don't know.
Whatever. But yeah, really no rhyme or reason to it because we both said with these picks, everything is changing by the second, and every game we watch, somebody else gets upset. So it's March, baby.
Yeah, it absolutely is. So yeah, my first 4 out. I won't give a reasoning for all of them. Mine, Indiana is my first one out. I think they're the 69th team, nice, out of the tournament. San Diego State, SMU. I gave my reasoning with Memphis. And then Dayton. I'll just do my Indiana. So the opposite side of you real quick. if they win, they're in. If they beat Purdue, they're in. Absolutely, I think. And they got to win probably a couple games in their conference tournament. But if they beat Purdue, they should probably be in. I think they, as much as I want to hate on Purdue, I think they won't beat Purdue. Mm-hmm. And I think that'll kind of be like the last nail and like it's a mediocre, an underachieving season for them, which I think the committee will look down on them for, which is unfortunate. I love when Indiana's good. It's just, they're fun to root for. But that's my first 4 out. What you got, Austin?
I agree. And again, the only one that's different for me, I guess I had SMU, San Diego State, BYU actually, and Oregon. I think that what you're saying about Indiana is going to happen to Oregon. I don't see them finishing the season well. They've sort of been rocky. They've beat some good teams, lost the teams that they shouldn't. So I got them in there. But like we said, anything can change on a day-to-day. BYU doesn't impress me, so that's why I have them in my first 4 out. So
that's totally fair. BYU would have been, if we did like, what is it, like the next 4 out or whatever they do, whatever Joe Lunardi does, they would have been in that for me. So they were close, but yeah, just no cigar in my opinion, unless they, somehow win. What is the Mountain West they're in? So we'll finish it up with quick March Madness winner from this far out. We'll do more March Madness, like actual, like the bracket and stuff like that as we go along here. We're just kind of looking at it again from the most day one possible of the conference tournaments where it's just the Northeast Conference. So my pick, real quick, I love Providence plus 8,000. It does worry me they're not going to technically play any games at the Dunk in any of these conference games. So that scares me a little. That's really good value, I think, for a team that is very fun. I love Durham. I think his name is. It's just the guy they bring in at the end, their closer, basically. He's incredible. So the odds haven't changed since Friday. They had a decent win over, what was it, Xavier? I don't remember. They beat someone this weekend, and it was a pretty good win. So I think that was last night. Either way, Austin, how about you? What are your picks?
I can't really make up my mind. Like I said earlier, I think anybody can win on any given day. I think 2 safe ones are Baylor and Duke. Like I said earlier, Duke's riding on house money. This is Coach K's last year. Mm-hmm. Those kids want to get them to win. They fight hard. They want it bad. I think Baylor, though, is in the best position for any top 10, top 15, AP 25 ranked team because everybody has written them off. And it is the best place to be in. They were number 1, number 2, top 4 team in the country. They lost some games, 2 in a row that they shouldn't have. And then everybody's like, oh, Baylor's trash. They are not trash. They're a good basketball team. And I'm telling you, they will be in contention to win their conference with Texas Tech or Kansas. Those top 3, I think they're in contention to win that. And they will be just a sleeper team that rides deep in the tournament. I predict that they'll guarantee at least go to an Elite 8. All
right, an official guarantee from Austin here. I think that Baylor's great value. I think that's at least just one you can take and you can maybe hedge out of it, or you can even cash out with a little bit of money made at the very least. So with that will do it for this episode of Just Another Year Chicago. My name is Tony Cepeda. Thank you again to my guest Austin for joining us. That was awesome. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. The madness is upon us. Enjoy every second. See ya.